Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Glad that everybody could be here with us today. Before we get into what we want to discuss, just to mention, for those that don't know, today is actually National Left-Handed Day. I'm also a lefty as well.
Both of us are. Isn't that amazing?
It is, yeah. Most people, that's actually one thing people don't know about me, or I usually don't reveal. Not that there's anything, you know, private about it, but yeah, I'm a left-handed person. I only do one thing right-handed, and you and I share this in common, I believe. When I go bowling, I don't know why. When I learned how to bowl many, many moons ago, I tend to use my right.
Yeah.
Um, but everything else, I'm strictly a lefty.
I'm
Everything else,
exactly like you, Steve, except when I get a scissor in addition. I like to use my right hand
your right
cutting.
hand. Okay, so you're a little bit on the ambidextrous side.
Yes, but as far as my cursive writing or curvaceous writing, my penmanship, left hand.
Left, me
And
too.
I'll never forget when I was a school teacher, yes, and I had to teach penmanship. What a challenge being left-handed, trying to teach penmanship, explaining to the kids, well, some of us use our left hand. Anyway, that art is gone or dying or whatever. But anyway.
Right. And also being a left-handed person, when you're at the chalkboard and you're writing, you stand a little different than if you're right-handed.
Yes.
So when you go to write something, you're stepping away a little a little differently than if you're a righty.
You
No.
nailed it, Steve. I always tilted to a side. I was never straight against the board, like you just see my just back like that. No, I
Mhm.
always tilted for various reasons. I always tilted to the side on purpose.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about the economy? What are we going to do? We're going to what? We can create our own economy, Steve?
Well, yeah, and what we're here to talk about is we've got 8 tips to share, about the economy. Um, the first one on the list, I am not an impulse shopper, which I'm not. I shop less often or sporadically for items I use on sale. Well, it doesn't always have to be a sale item. I prefer it to be. Um, I know this, and I'll gladly reveal. I myself, a few months ago, I had to make some grocery store shopping changes. So instead of me going to the grocery store about every 5 to 7 days, I decided to bump it up to 10 for a reason. So if you stop and think about it, you're actually cutting off one shop a week by doing that if you go every 10. Think about it. Which in turn has extended out my funds that I have to shop for groceries with. It does work. It's helpful to me. Now, if I find something on sale, that puts even more money back in my hand. So that's something I encourage a lot of others to do as well. If you're able to wait 2 or 3 days extra down the pipe to go to the store, do it, try it. It is a little bit of a savings. Use what you have in your refrigerator. Create another meal if you're not happy with or if you've had enough of whatever you've made. Repurpose it, turn it into something else.
That's what I love about your tip here, Steve. By extending out the days, it kind of sort of forces the person
Hmm.
to assess what's left and to stretch it out. Which sometimes when people shop so frequently, they're not really paying attention to the stuff that's already there. And it gets old. It just goes in the back part of the fridge. Some people don't look at it, turns into an unidentifiable flying object, perhaps. No, I really like that tip.
Hmm.
You are so right.
Yeah.
100%. You know, Steve, you and I have mentioned BOGO, which stands for a buy one, get one. By now, most people know that. BOGO sales. And for the most part, sometimes you could really, really luck out. But sometimes it's not necessarily a luck out. You have to add up, well, actually divide the numbers and see per unit price if it's actually better for you to get the BOGO, not the logo, I'm thinking of something else, the BOGO. Then you are just so better off sometimes. But that option is there. I know, Steve, you've had success with BOGO sales in the past. I know that.
Oh yeah, yeah, I have. You really have to know your pricing, like from one store to another. Like whenever I go into a store and something goes on sale, first off, nothing is buy one get one free. Please know that. What it means, I don't even know why they use that term. It should be, because this is what it is. Buy one, it's really getting it half off.
Exactly.
You're getting half off the first, half off the second. Where they confuse you is where it says BOGO, buy one get one free, save $5.29. You're not saving $5.29. It's what, $2.69 for one, and then it's what, $2.60 or whatever it is on the other one. You know, you're not getting it exactly free. You're getting each one of them half off.
Yeah.
It would be like $2.69, $2.69, or $2.69, $2.70. That's probably what I meant to say to begin with. But no. And I've learned something else too. I do it for convenience because I'm there. It's a get her done. I'm right there, one-stop shop. Whenever I see a BOGO at Publix, usually I can go to Walmart and buy just one and it'd be the same price. So yes, watch your pricing again. Back to the coupon. If you got a coupon on a BOGO, yeah. For example, this happened a long time ago. It wasn't much money. I had bought some cup of noodles. It said 4 for $1. Okay, not bad. 25 cents or whatever it was each one. Then I had the coupon, save $1 on 4. So when I got to the register, I got it free.
Oh my word. I love that. I love surprises like that.
So when you have a coupon and you're looking at it based on what you might see, what is BOGO, do the math, see how much you save. Yeah. One thing I wish they would start doing again in grocery stores, they used to do it and you see it less and less. Double coupon day.
Oh, that is so back in the day memories. Yes, double coupon days were great.
Yeah,
wow.
where you go in, if you got a coupon for $1, you'll get $2 off. Right.
How pre-inflationary times was that?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Miss it.
The third tip that I've got here: begin a simple stockpile with canned essentials like fruit and vegetables. I will attest to that. Again, I'm in the state of Florida. I just got through dealing with Tropical Storm Debbie. Luckily, no, I did not lose power, but people in Florida did, especially further down from me. This is where, in the case of electricity goes out, try to have a barbecue grill on hand. The reason why I say that is some of your nice barbecue grills off to the sides got a little hot plate burner. So if you ever have vegetables that you want to heat up, but your electricity in your house is out or home, you got saucepan, just turn on the heat, put the put your contents in there, heat it up, and you got hot food. No, in the case of bad weather, well, not just bad weather, but it's always good to have stockpile on hand, period, no matter what. It doesn't
Absolutely.
even
You never
it,
know.
it
Yeah.
doesn't even have to be a tropical storm or a hurricane or a tornado. It doesn't even have to be that. You have power surges all the time, anywhere. And a power surge, yeah, can last a few minutes. It can last 2 hours. It can last a half a day. It can last a day. It could last several days. You don't know. So, yes, have some food on hand that has a good shelf life if in the event something like that happens.
You know, I love this. What is the worst thing that could happen if you have food that's ready, shelf stable? All right. So let's say you don't need to use it as fast as you thought you might have had to. Big deal. You're ahead of the game. And more than likely, you have a better price. And the way things are going at this exact moment in time of money uncertainties, at this moment of time, when you get a sale on something your family actually loves and uses, stock up.
Stock
Steve,
up.
I love that tip. Very, very good.
Yeah, for example, back during the Thanksgiving period, in fact, I was shopping at Sam's. Oh my gosh, November is the month for the canned stuff, and I'll tell you why.
It is.
I got great deals on Le Sueur peas. I can eat any kind of peas, but if you give me a choice, Le Sueur,
Yeah.
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Green beans, I bought 2 8-packs. I bought an 8-pack of kernel corn. In fact, I still have one sealed box of that green beans right behind me.
So good.
Um, and I got it for a very good price. So one thing I always do encourage people to buy when you go shopping, you don't have to buy many. You can buy 5, 6, 7 cans a little bit at a time and build up a little stockpile in a little spot. That way, if anything happens, another one that's good to stock up on if you've never had it, you don't have to buy Parmalat milk. It comes in a carton, a quart-sized carton. You don't have to go and buy that particular one. If you have a dollar store, they have a section that's got 2% whole milk, 1% whatever you want. The same thing as Parmalat. It tastes just as good. I recommend it cold if you can get it. But in the case like this, it's not always necessary. That's got a good shelf life. And it tastes just as good as the Parmalat for half the money. Let's say in the case of bad weather, you get the urge for a bowl of cereal.
That's right.
You got it.
I mean, to me, those are like basic essentials to always have. And that's why you're right to recommend that as like the beginner stuff. Like you can't go wrong by having that shelf stable milk. Steve, I want to mention something about the green beans, a couple of things. This we didn't expect to throw in, but I like to, speaking of throwing in, I like to strain those canned green beans, add a little bit of garlic powder, other seasonings that I enjoy. And then I like to add it as a filler to an omelet with some shredded mozzarella cheese and maybe pour a little bit of tomato sauce on the top. That is so yummy.
You know, I never thought to put green beans in an omelet. I never thought to do that.
It's a lot less expensive than mushrooms. I love mushrooms, but if you have green beans and you have them available, it works quite well. A lot of garlic powder and whatever other seasonings, and really, really good.
Yeah, eggs is something I try to keep on hand at all times if possible.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the type of person, if I've got eggs in the fridge, I've got food. I'm happy.
Very
yeah.
true. 100%.
Yeah, I'm a simple person. I don't, no.
You know what? It leads me right into the next tip. Avoid any sort of food waste by checking your refrigerator and freezing often and using foods that are already opened up first.
Yes. In fact, that right there goes back to the repurposing.
Yes.
Instead of going back out to the store, like I was saying on tip 1, this plays hands with that. Go into your refrigerator. You know what? I have a thing A friend of mine calls it dump soup. I myself, I call it everything but the kitchen sink soup. What you're doing, leftover green beans, a little bit of meat, a little bit of corn, a little bit of carrots. Anyway, you got a variety of things that's sitting in your fridge. So instead of letting it go bad, just put it in a pot, slow cooker, whatever, put it all together, add your little extra flavoring you want, your seasonings, voila. If you want to add a little bit of egg noodles or elbows to make it a little bit, more interesting, poof, you got something to eat.
Exactly, Steve. And you know those little cans of tomato sauce? Like I always forget. Is it 4 ounces? Is it 8? I always forget.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about tomato paste, although that's fine too. But a small can of tomato sauce, throw it into your a slow cooker with your chicken broth or whatever you put in there, or bouillon, and whatever additions like Steve just mentioned. It gives it such an enhanced flavor, and it's really pretty to look at with the little blush of color. It's really, really good.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
And I like that you said slow cooker, because we still have warm weather going on. It's not throwing heat off in your house.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the slow cooker, as far as I'm concerned, to me, even though it's an appliance that's been around for ages on end, still to me makes some of the best food. I'm loyal to that. The next one is you want to freeze leftovers whenever possible. And I agree with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And this is where people make a lot of mistake. I'm glad you brought that one up, Steve, because, as we go along during the week, this is just a suggestion, if you don't mind me just jumping in on this for a minute.
Yeah.
Every night, whenever you have whatever protein you have left, whatever meat, even if it's a little scrap, just put it nicely to the side in the food saver and forget it exists and throw it in your freezer. You never know. You can chop it into an omelet. You could egg it and bread it or something and make it a cutlet or something. Whatever it is that you have left over, it all adds up, especially, Steve, that last part of the month, which I like to call a bare bones time. You got those little bits of meat and pieces of vegetables or whatever in the freezer. You got yourself a meal. And I love what you mentioned, the previous one about that soup. Again, you could take those items and make that soup that Steve just described.
Right. Now, one of the things that I used to do it a lot, not so much now. Before I would let any kind of fruit or even vegetables from the produce go bad. Strawberries can go bad, bananas can turn. And anyway, you get my idea. Kale, any type of greens, things like that. I guess certain squash or zucchini, if you don't use it in time, it'll go bad. So what you can do is take all of those, that's just a few to mention, put it in Ziploc bags and freeze it. It's going to preserve it.
Bingo.
Yeah, because I used to do that with my fruit whenever I would go to do a lot of smoothies. This is before. I'd like to get back in it again. Before I would let a batch of bananas go bad, I would peel it and wrap it in plastic or put it in a plastic bag and freeze it.
Amazing. Great idea. And if bananas went really, really, really badly, they even look blackened, still do not open it yet. Just pop the whole banana, blackened banana, in your freezer for future banana bread. The overripe ones work great in banana bread or muffins.
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, it's been a pretty good while since I've had some good banana bread. I do like it, though.
Let me inject while we're here. Recently, I discovered that Life with Patty channel, she did an upload very recently about banana bread. You may want to check out her recent video. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That sounds good.
So, yeah, very good, Steve. Okay, next, buy eggs and cook meals at home. So much cheaper that way. I've done videos about that. I think Steve did a video. Maybe in the future about that. It's so much cheaper that way. Steve, in my area, and I broke it down, like literally, in my area, the price of one egg is about, like an extra large egg, is about 27 cents. 27 cents, and I use my rule of half. Either I'll have a half of an English muffin or a half of a Thomas bagel,
Hmm.
Okay, both Thomas products, half, like just one side of it. And I did all the math. I included my coffee and I included a fruit. Guess what? It came out to $1.01, Steve.
Okay. Now go to that. No, that's very good. Now
Two eggs,
go
by the
go
way.
to a restaurant. Um, I'll just name a couple that serve something along that line. A Denny's or an IHOP. We have a restaurant. It's in St. Augustine. That's about an hour away. You used to have them around here. They don't exist anymore hardly. Village Inn. You can go to a restaurant. That same breakfast is going to cost you $7.99, $8.99, and you
Right.
paid $1.01.
$1 in one. Well, you know me, I have my 25-cent cup of Joe. I don't, this is where a lot of people spend too much money on their outside coffee, but everybody watching already knows that. But
Uh-huh.
where people don't do the math, I like to use my rule of half, Steve. So, for example, like recently I purchased Thomas's bagels, right? I really love them. They're
They're
pretty
good.
big. They're really sizable to me. So, actually, a half of one is fine. So, six in the bag equals for me equals 12. Equals 12 opportunities to have it with a meal. I don't like to have tons and tons of bread at my meal. Steve, you know, you and I talked about this. We do that trick with the bread, like we're trying to watch our carbs. What's that trick that you taught me about the making a sandwich feel?
Yeah. Well, what I do, I actually learned this from a very good friend of mine, but he goes one step further, and I'll describe that too. If I want to make a sandwich or peanut butter and jelly or whatnot, one piece of bread, you put what you want on it, and you do a double over. You take that and you fold it over. Eat that. No.
Yeah,
So a piece of bread might be 18 grams of carbs. That's all you're getting versus the 36 if you eat two. Now, my friend will go one step further. It takes a little bit of doing. He'll take one piece of bread when it's toasted, and he'll take one piece of bread and cut it in half,
right,
and he'll make skinny sandwiches out of it.
right. So you get the feeling as if, oh, I'm having like a whole sandwich. No, you're actually just having one half a
One piece of
sandwich
bread.
in calories, in carbs, and in cost. Remember, right? By slowing down the rate, you just double the volume of your ability of using that loaf of bread. I think it's really a great thing to do.
Hmm.
I really,
Hmm.
really do.
And I should say, I myself, I just recently went and got 2 dozen Egglands. I like the Eggland eggs because you never hear any recalls on them.
No,
There's a lot of good quality, and it broke down to about 27 cents an egg for me as well. So that's, but I have been known to buy 5 dozen, which that in turn, which is about 8.99 with a dollar coupon, breaks down to about 15.5 cents an egg.
right. Which leads to your next tip, which you actually were about to say on the next tip about that.
Right, right.
About larger families, right, Steve?
Yeah, yeah. Tip number 7: larger families that eat eggs can probably get even more discounts and values on bigger quantity. Well, I myself, I'm an egg eater. I'm not going to lie. I do enjoy, except for raw and poached, which I can't do. I can do any other style.
Right.
But I like my eggs. Why? Because I know that if I prepare 2 eggs, whether it be an omelet, scrambled, um, 2 over medium, whatever I decide to do, sunny side up, however I decide to prepare it, I'm going to get satisfaction from it. It
Yes,
it it cuts off my hunger.
it
Uh,
does. It shuts it off for sure.
so that to me, even though price of eggs went up not too terribly long ago, kind of went through the roof for a while there. That was always the more the lesser expensive way for me to get protein in my budget.
That's
So,
really wonderful, Steve. I know myself, if I don't have enough protein in my diet, I start feeling edgy, a little grumpy. Things take a little longer. And I know something like, wait a minute. Oh, I didn't have eggs today. I just thought I'd skip eggs and just eat just the bread. Nah, they may shock, that may shut off your appetite for a half hour. Then 2 hours down the pike, you're like, wait a minute, something's missing. And then you realize, right? I mean, honestly. You can't lose with eggs. You can't lose with those eggs for sure.
Protein is always going to shut off your appetite. Carbs, like you say, you can eat it 30 minutes, an hour later, hour and a half. I'm hungry.
I'm hungry. You get irritable.
Yeah, you will. You can.
Oh, that's good. Let's see. Number 8. Don't be afraid to try store brands, because recently I purchased some cream cheese, and I am you too, right? See if that happened with you. Why don't you tell your story? Because I'm a diehard of the brand one, but I do keep my mind open. But let's hear Steve's story on that.
Well, as we both know, and some of the subscribers, yes, there is no substitute. Philadelphia, when you say Philadelphia, that's like the it of cream cheeses. But I thought, well, I don't really feel like paying $3.84 for an 8-ounce container. Not that that's bad. So,
but if you're trying to stretch a buck, even less, and let it go.
Oh,
further.
I think I stretched a buck about $1.72, and I'll tell you how. I had picked up an 8-ounce container. I happened to be at Walmart. Great Value whipped cream cheese. $2.12.
Amazing. And what's that, like 8 ounces or something like that?
8 ounce.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So, you don't have to spend and go out and buy name brand, but be careful. This makes me think back to a subscriber's comment at one time. Every once in a blue moon, a generic or off-brand is not going to be that great. So you have to be careful.
That's true.
That's where I would much rather go ahead and get a name brand product. For example, I think you said one time there was an English muffin you had ordered, or a bagel that was Pitts.
I can't believe you remembered it. Now, I am normally quite happy with many of the product from that product line, Happy Belly, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I've never had a bad experience, except for me, I wasn't a fan of. Now, somebody else might find no difference, but maybe because I am a little bit of a food snob with that Thomas's English muffin and all that. The English muffins were like sawdust, the texture. And I said, well, let me toast it. All I got was toasted sawdust. It just didn't work for me. Now, maybe that particular batch was bad, so I'm not going to discount it forever. But I realized something here, Steve, and this is where people make a great big mistake. Yes, try the store brand, but as a good rule of thumb, don't buy tons of it because it's on sale. Give it a whirl. Yeah. You might love it. You might say, ugh. Well, like that's with anything. But if you know the taste of the other thing, that's different. But if you never tried it before, I don't recommend, and you probably tend to agree with me, right, Steve? Don't get tons and tons of something you've not tried before.
No, I won't do that.
Steve, that Great Value cream cheese or any other cream cheese you get on sale, you could doctor it up. I took my Mrs. Dash, with my cream cheese. And I said, and mind you, this was the Philly one. I said, gee, I thought it would be a little more garlic tasting. I put more flavors in it. I bumped it up. A pinch of salt, Mrs. Dash, garlic powder, whirled it around. It was really, really better.
Yes. In fact, not too terribly long ago,
yeah.
I just did a video on how you can change.
Check out his video. He gives really great tips on this.
Right. I give really good tips. It tells you how to modify plain cream cheese and turn it into something different.
Absolutely.
A lot of the time, when you turn it into something different, it can be something you already have on hand. You don't have to go out and buy it. Um, I don't always like something in its exact state. Sometimes I want to modify it
Right.
a little bit of variety, you know.
That's good.
Um, Now you have a really good tip here.
I have a good tip, and I'm sure that Steve, you agree with me on this one. I don't care if you're single. Still, if you got a good price, if there's a good manager special, especially on family size packs of meat, buy it. If you're, I don't care if you're single. I don't care if just family of one or two. Buy it. You divide it up and you make individual wrappings of it. Put that thing in your freezer. Steve, once I saw like a whole bunch of like a family size chicken legs and thighs. I like that, or even the drumsticks like you like. I
Mhm.
saw a really good sale on it on family size. Just because if a person has family of one or two, don't discount and say, because you see the word family on it and you just turn your head around.
A lot of the time,
Oh,
when
that's
you
hit the jackpot. Go ahead, Steve.
yes, when you go and look at family size packages of any kind of meat, but speaking of chicken or specifically, a family size pack of drumsticks usually runs about 99, maybe 109 a pound.
Mhm.
I can think of two different things you could make with it. I like a dish called chicken adobo that involves caramelized onions, a little bit of garlic. It involves mushrooms if you want it. But you boil your chicken separately, and then afterwards you take the chicken and put it in with the onion, garlic, mushroom mix, and you add soy sauce and you roll it together, and you keep
Mm-mm.
adding soy sauce until the color's right.
Yeah,
It's a Filipino dish, but it's off the chain. If you don't want to go that route, you could make a good chicken and rice with it.
absolutely.
Uh, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's other chicken soup. I guess if you wanted to go that route, there's
So
so
many.
many other different things. Another one that's I should bring up too. It's going to sound expensive at first, and it is if you use it in this form. If you go to the store and you buy a pack of meat, and oh my gosh, but this meat is $39. I can't afford this. But you only got three pieces. Look at the thickness of that meat. If it's about yay thick, sometimes if you go to this, think about something, cut that meat down.
100%.
You might be able to get 9 or 12 fillets of whatever it is or pieces of that particular item.
That's
Guess
right.
what? Now it's not so expensive because you broke it down.
That's right. You just gave yourself a discount and it shares very, very well. It
Right.
is amazing what we could do. We don't have to feel powerless. We don't have to feel helpless. Oh, out of control economy. Yeah, when it comes to grocery prices, yes, I do agree. Some of the stuff, some things I've just avoided purchasing for a little while, hoping that one day it'll get better. Um, we don't know. I don't know. But I know this, like Steve said earlier, whenever you can, begin your basic and simple stockpile. All of us. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just get started. And I love what you mentioned about November. Yes, yes, yes. November is notorious for great sales on canned items, chicken
Yep.
stock, chicken broth.
Yep.
I buy the cubes, the bouillon cubes, because instead of buying 10 cans of broth, I'll just make my own bouillon as I go along. Works just as well for
It
me.
does. Mhm.
But if you buy those chicken legs on sale, guess what? You can make your own darn chicken stock as a side bonus with that. I mean,
Oh, did I
yeah,
not tell you one of the things I like to do is the chicken broth that
yeah.
naturally comes from the chicken. I like to take that juice and put it over pasta or white rice.
Yes, you have told me that a long time ago. And I mean, it's delicious. So there's
Yes,
so many things we could do. We need to eliminate the word can't and just put the word can. We can do it. Steve, it was so great being here. I
yes,
can't believe it's 34 minutes already. When did this
right.
happen?
Another tip in addition, if you don't want to go that route with the white rice and the pasta, if you make a pot roast, a chuck
Oh,
pot roast,
no.
you automatically get the flavoring and the juice from the meat in the in the
Yes.
liquid. Don't
Yes.
throw that out. Put it in a separate container. Put it in your refrigerator. Yeah, you're going to have some fat come to the top. Wipe that fat off. You can take that juice and put it over white rice or pasta, and you just created another meal.
Correct, Stephen. You just remind me of something. Sometimes some people want to keep that top fat from the chicken solid or the beef solid,
Yeah,
whatever
could.
solid pork. Put it away and enter it, and it freezes, and you can use it as a grease in your pan or a little flavoring. Do that with bacon renderings too.
Never. Okay. That one, you're right. That one I didn't really think about, but you're right. That'll help give that whatever you're trying to
Done
cook.
it. I've done it, and it really helps, greasing up your pans and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Steve, I can't believe we're at 36 minutes. How'd that happen?
Well, if you're, I guess when you're on a roll and you've got a really good subject matter to talk about, I guess it happens. But no, this was great. Um, hopefully we gave everybody some good incentive. That's really the important thing.
And thank you for those that mentioned to either Steve or myself specific ways that watching our programs on either channel, our tips have helped you. I cannot tell you how much that means to the both of us. Thank you so
Right.
much.
Yeah, thank you. Again, that's the reason why we come on. That's why we come here. If we help one person, I already know two people have been helped already. I've already gotten some feedback. I already know two people have been helped. But if we help one, our job is done. That's how I feel.
But I ask one thing, please don't forget to smash down Steve's like button.
Yes, please. That would be ever so appreciated. All right, everybody. I hope all of you have a great whatever time of day that you're having. And I or Jan or the two of us will see you back here next time. Bye for
Take
now.
care now. Bye bye.
Mhm.